Welcome everybody. We're here with Maroba Maduma, and who is from SA Taxi. Maroba, you've walked the entrepreneurship path and also the corporate ladder. If you could turn back the clock, what kind of advice would you give to your younger self about starting the entrepreneurship journey?
You know, one of the things I've learned, especially over the last 6 years here, is understanding financial instruments and understanding how to access finance. You know, a lot of people in this country, we believe, specifically in South Africa, we believe that there is no finance available because we don't, from a young age, get taught or get shown where the financial instruments, where the finance can be found and how that financial instruments can work for you and assist your business in growing. So it's not necessarily always that there is no funding, it's just that there's a lack of education around understanding of financial instruments, understanding the financial space, understanding how to fund your business. Because the idea can be there. You know, I've had many ideas, and I've worked around with people who've had many of ideas, and the idea stops when you guys have just given it a name. You know, you're giving your business a name, and all of a sudden all you guys are running around saying, we can't find funding, we can't find funding. And the reality is, in as much as the situations are tough around the country at the moment, understanding where access to funding is an important thing. And understanding how those financial instruments can work for you is also very important. So that's one of the big things for me if I had to go back. And it's still relevant now as I speak to the industry that we operate within. For the guys to understand that there are people out there, there are companies like ourselves out there who are able to fund you regardless of whether or not you believe you're high risk. Because there's an opportunity for us to at the very least see you, understand you, guide you. And that's the biggest piece of advice I think our people in the country need at the moment, to say if you have a great idea, don't stop at the name.
Yeah.
You know, go forth and understand the financial instruments, and for our government to go into the townships and into the primaries and high schools and say, guys, this is how the financial space works, and this is how the banks, this is how, you know, the youth funds and all those things that we're creating, those wonderful spaces that are created, how do you actually go and apply for this finance? What do you need to do? How do you actually do it right? And there's a lot of people who speak to it, but not enough people who speak in the right spaces about it.
I want to touch on something we talked about before in the bio, it's linked below. You talked about you were a hustler, always. You were selling toys on the side to pay school fees. Even the position that you have today, you decided one day to take the off-ramp from the highway and actually stop and knock. What drives, how important is for you that hustling mentality, especially for people who may not have access to networks, may not have the luck of sort of demographic placement?
I think maybe defining hustling for yourself is very important. I think hustling is waking up and getting out of bed. That's the first step towards hustling. And I think most people wake up and wait for the opportunity. I think it's extremely important for you to walk out of your house. And every single thing you see outside of your house is an opportunity to do something more with. Because when we spoke about the hustling, about me selling toys on the street, it's non-glamorous. You know, you first have to hustle towards the stomach. You know, Maslow speaks about basic needs, but it's not glamorous. You go and buy toys in the middle of China City. They're very much cheaper. You stand and you're basically, you know, parents sometimes, you know, York is too busy to sometimes go and buy the toys for his son. It might be his son's birthday, and there's a dancing doll in the middle of the street, and hey, here's a bit of money. That's you haven't seen an opportunity because you walked out of your house and you saw what's around you. So when I speak about the fact that I was a hustler, I speak about the idea that glamour doesn't bring riches. Glamour doesn't bring comfort, all right? The walk outside the house, the getting out of bed, and understanding that the future is not in your bedroom, except for your future kids, but the future of the world and the future of your world is in you looking at the opportunities outside, whether it's somebody who needs a ride from one place to the next and you being able to give them the transportation, whether it's giving York the comfort to be able to give his son or daughter a toy because you know you were standing in the middle of the street, or whether or not it is to give somebody an opportunity to tell the world how he feels on an app, and that would be Twitter or any of those other apps. So I think hustling for me is just waking up and getting out of your door and looking and recognizing the opportunities that are around you all over the place. And this country needs a lot more of that, where there's opportunity everywhere. Whether you're in the rural sectors or whether you're in the metros, the opportunities are everywhere. And as we continue speaking, we speak about, well, when we speak about the ecosystem that's created by the taxi industry, you start seeing how a lady understood while she was catching a taxi that, listen, these taxi drivers need food and there's nobody selling them food, and then she put up a food stall. And all of a sudden she's there. You know? Wake up, see the opportunity by getting out of your bed.
Amazing, amazing advice. Thank you.
Thank you.